Hi guys, today we're going to be working on a crochet beanie with a brim hat. You can find a link in the description below for the written pattern, and also another link in the description below for the size chart in case you were wanting to make a different size. This is a standard adult size that we're going to be working on today. So you're going to need some red heart soft yarn, a pair of scissors, a 5mm crochet hook, and a yarn needle. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to begin by making a magic ring. You're just going to lay the yarn across your hand like this, wrap around your 4 fingers and cross it over. Hold it in place, put your hook underneath that first piece of yarn and over the next one, and pull it up onto your hook. Carefully pick up your working yarn, and we're going to chain 2. Okay, so now what you're going to do is yarn over your hook, and being careful to work over both of these pieces of the yarn. You're going to push your hook into the middle of the magic ring and pull up a loop. We're going to do that again. Yarn over, push your hook in the ring, pull up a loop. You've now got 5 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 5. Okay, we're going to do that again. Okay, we're going to do it a total of 7 times. Yarn over, push your hook in, pull up a loop. Yarn over, push your hook in, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all 5 loops on your hook. Go ahead and do that a total of 7 times and then come back. Okay, so now that you've done that 7 times, you're going to go ahead and grab that little loose piece of the yarn here and pull the magic ring closed. Okay. And now in the top of that chain 2 space from the beginning of that round, you're going to close this round of the slip stitch. You're just going to push your hook through, yarn over, and pull right through both loops on your hook. Okay? And that's how it should look so far. Okay, so you're going to yarn over, push your hook into that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, push your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops. Let's do that again in the very same stitch. Okay, so we've just worked 2 of these into that first stitch. You're going to go and continue on working 2 into each stitch all the way around and then come back. So now that you finish that round, you're going to close it with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 2 space, and we're going to chain 2 for our next round. Okay, you're going to do the same stitches. You're going to work 2 into that very first stitch, okay, so now that you finish that round, you will have closed with a closed with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 2 space from the previous round. And now we're going to chain 2 to start the next round. Okay, you're going to do the exact same stitch as we've been doing, and we're going to work 2 of them into that very first stitch. Okay, and we're going to work 1 into the following stitch, 2 into the stitch after that, and 1 into the next. All right, continue that all the way around, close with a slip stitch and come back. Okay, so now we're going to start our next round. Oops. Okay, we're going to work 2 of the exact same stitch here into our very first stitch. So 2 of them in that first one there. Okay, 1 into each of the next 2. All right, so 1 into that second stitch and 1 into that third. You're going to work 2 into the following stitch, 1 into each of the next 2. Okay, and you're going to continue that all the way around, close with a slip stitch, chain 2, and come back. Okay, so let's do a little stitch count check here. Okay, so we've just finished with that round where we worked 2 1 1 2 1 1. Okay, so right now you should actually have a total of 28 stitches. Okay, also I want to note as a little bit of a sizing prompt, depending on what size you're working on. As I said, right now we're making a hat that's a standard adult size. If you want to click on the size chart in the link in the description below and open it up, it'll open in a separate window so you could just have it there to reference. Right now what we're working on is the measurement for the crown of the hat. Okay, so if you're wanting to make a different size, this is a good time to double check the crown. All right, well, right now would be if you're working on a little bitty baby one. But anyway, just wanted to note that as a little bit of a prompt for a size check. If you're making a size different than a standard adult, after each of these rounds, just double check the measurement and check with the size chart, okay? And if you're not making a standard adult size, you're gonna stop when you get to the crown measurement that you need. And then when we move on to the next step, right now what we're doing is called increasing rounds, okay? I'll say when we're done with the increasing rounds, and then you can continue from there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next round. So we're working our puff stitch in that very first stitch. We're going to work 2, and this is why we're working 2. This is what increases the size. And we're going to work 1 into each of the next 3 stitches. Pardon my voice, I do have a bit of a cold. It's kind of lingered. I've been waiting for it to pass to make this video, and I thought, okay, I don't want to wait too long. I want to get this video happening. All right, so we're going to work 2 into that next one here. Let me get more yarn. Okay, 1 into each of the following 3 stitches. Okay, so 2 1 1 1, and you're going to go ahead and continue doing that all the way around. All right, and by the time you get around here to the start, you're going to close with your slip stitch, chain 2. By the end of this round, you should have a total of 35 stitches. Okay, so go ahead and do that and then come on back. Okay, so now we're going to work our next round. You're going to do 2 of the puff stitches in the first stitch, 1 into each of the following 4, 2 in the next, 1 into each of the following 4. Go ahead and do that all the way around, close with a slip stitch, chain 2. By the end of this round that you're about to do, you should have 42 stitches. Okay, so now that you've finished that round, we're doing 2 more increase rounds, and then we're gonna move on, okay, with the rest of the pattern. So for this next increase round, you're gonna work your 2 puff stitches in the first stitch, 1 into each of the following 5, then 2, 1 into each of the following 5. All the way around, close with a slip stitch, chain 2. By the end of that round, you should have 49 stitches, and then come back. Okay, so now we're going to do our last increase round. You're going to work your 2 puff stitches in the first stitch, 1 into each of the following 6, then 2, 1 into each of the following 6. Do it all the way around, close with a slip stitch, chain 2, and come back. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to work 1 puff stitch into each stitch all the way around. Close with a slip stitch in the top of your chain 2, and then chain 2 to begin your next round. And you're just going to repeat that, working 1 in each stitch around, closing with a slip stitch and chain 2. You're going to keep on going until you reach a length of 8 inches in your hat. So the way that you're going to measure that is you'll fold it, and from the top down, when you reach 8 inches, that's when you're going to come back here to this video. If you are making a size different than a standard adult size, go ahead and refer to the hat size chart. Again, it's in the link in the description below, and have a look at the hat height measurement that you need. Okay, so when you're measuring the crown diameter, you're measuring across like this. When you're measuring the hat height, you're folding it and you're measuring it from the top down, okay? So go ahead and do that, working one of these stitches that we've been doing this whole time is called a puff stitch. We're gonna work one puff stitch in every single stitch, all the way around, close of the slip stitch, chain 2. You're just gonna keep doing that until you reach the hat height that you need. For the adult standard, it's 8 inches, okay? So go ahead and work on that and then come back. Okay, so now that you've gotten to the hat height that you need, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the brim. So after that last round, where you close with the slip stitch, you can take out one of the chains. You really just only need to have it as a chain 1. And you're just gonna take your scissors and go ahead and fasten that off. Okay, pull that through so it's secured. And now we're gonna move on and do the brim. Now for the brim, you're just gonna fold your hat in half like this. I'm gonna make my seam line up more at the back. Okay, so you're gonna have your hat folded in half. Decide where you want your brim to go, and I would recommend using stitch markers to mark the ends of where your hat brim is gonna go. If you don't have stitch markers on hand, you can always just use a couple pieces of yarn. But I would recommend going about 3 inches from the corner. So measure from the corner here to about 3 inches. So this is about where I'm going to have my brim. That's one corner of where it's going to be. And then on the other side, right into the corner there, right about here. Okay. And you can have a look and get an idea wherever you want it to be. See, when that's on the head, the brim will be there. Making your brim, you are going to be working with 2 pieces together. All right, that's what's going to give you that extra sturdiness. So you're going to be using 2 pieces of your yarn together, okay? So you're going to go ahead and make your starting loop. Just wrap that around your finger, cross it over, push a little bit through. All right, and that's going to be your starting loop. Now another thing to know, when we start working, we're going to be working in the last row here, not this one up here, okay? Okay, so you're going to go ahead and reattach your yarn where that first stitch marker is. And we're going to chain 2. Okay, now remember, we're going to be working not into these stitches, but we're working into these stitches from the previous row, okay? Now we're going to work 2 half double crochet in each stitch across to the stitch marker. So you're going to yarn over your hook and you're going to not push into this stitch, but you're going to go, let me get a better view for you here. Okay, so normally we'd go into this stitch here, right? We're not going to go into there. We're going into this one. Okay, so you're going to yarn over and you're going to go down into that stitch from the previous row. And we're going to work 2 half double crochets. And you're going to go into that next stitch from the previous row. I hope it's a good view for you. Do you see that there? I'm not working in this stitch in the row. Sorry, I just shook the camera. Not working in this stitch from the row that we're on, working in the previous one. It's a little bit tricky, so take your time. And it's 2 half double crochets into every single one of those stitches, all the way across until you get to the next stitch marker. So go ahead and do that and then come back. Okay, so now that you've gone all the way across, right, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. We're going to half double crochet once into every single stitch all the way down the row. Okay, so just go ahead and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way down and then come back. All right, so now that you're back at the end here, you're going to half double crochet into the stitch below the below the previous row. So that's down here where our stitch marker is. Okay, you could take that out now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to half double crochet into that stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next and slip stitch into the one after that. Okay. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to half double crochet once into each of the first 3 stitches. So 1 in the next, and 1 in the third. We're going to half double crochet twice into the following. We're going to half double crochet once into each of the following 3. 1, 1, 1, and twice into the next. And you're just going to continue alternating that all the way down and then come back. Okay, so now that you're at the end, you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to go down and do your, down here on the base one, a half double crochet, sorry, that's my mistake. It's 1 below the 1 from the previous. You're going to do your half double crochet down here, slip stitch once into each of the next 2 stitches. That's 1 and 2. Okay. Now you're going to turn your work, chain 1. You're going to skip that first stitch and half double crochet into the following. And then you're going to half double crochet into each stitch all the way down. Okay, just 1 half double crochet into every single stitch all the way down and then come back. Okay, and just to finish off, because you don't just want this like straight edge, you want it kind of slope down, you're going to half double crochet into the stitch below the previous row. So down here, you're going to do a half double crochet, slip stitch, once into each of those next 2. All right, and if yours is anything like mine, getting tangled up with the 2, it's okay, because we're at the end now. So you're just going to pull that up, fasten it off. Okay. All right, and you should be seeing your beautiful hat with the brim without needing to have the, like, buy the separate brim that you put in there. I know some people use those, but I prefer it just like this. I love this hat. It fits really well when you put it on. And also what you can do, if you wanted to, you can get the fabric firming spray and you can spray it. There's a link in the description below if you wanted to get that product to spray it and firm it up. But anyway, now you're just going to use your yarn needle and you're going to weave those tail ends in and out of the stitches to hide them on the inside of your hat. So you're just literally going to take your yarn needle and then just on the inside of your hat, just go ahead and weave those little tail ends in and out just to hide them, fasten them off, and then you're done. I hope you enjoyed this pattern. Please be sure to click like and subscribe and keep an eye out for lots of really great patterns coming up. I've got a lot of video tutorials on the way, so I hope to see you back.